Okay, so let's get started because there's a lot to go over, and there's just a lot to talk about. So we're going to start with some of these books, the ones that are definitely going down there, and books that are definitely going down there, without a doubt, are going to be the little bit of Wonder Woman stuff that I do have. Okay, so yes, I only have so many Wonder Woman books, and the ones that we're going to go over, the ones that we're going to talk about right here, they're not all of them. My books are now spread between 4 or 5 bookshelves. And so as I find the ones that I want to guaranteedly put back in here, those are the ones that we'll be talking about. Now, you'll notice there are already some items on the shelf. They're not a guarantee. They're not a guarantee because we haven't talked about them yet. Every single item, that's the point of these videos that we're going to be going over. Every item that starts going on this shelf is going to be somehow talked about, somehow referenced, somehow it's going to go back on that shelf, or it's going to be referenced that it needs to go. One thing that we're going to talk about that needs to go is this. It's one of the only Wonder Woman books that's not staying. Do not misunderstand. I think that this couple was good. In fact, maybe as a statement to the fact that I actually like this couple and I actually think they make a ridiculous amount of sense, you know what? I'm going to make a judgment call here. This is the only one of these I have. And I told myself that the book was okay. Wasn't the best book I ever read. But I think that this is going to stay in the collection just because, yeah, I'm doing this in real time. I'm making these decisions. This stays. This stays because I believe in the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship. I don't see why it's not a normal thing. There's 2 things I see. There are 2 things that I accept. Maybe 3. I can see Steve and Wonder Woman. I can, even though I don't believe it's nowhere near as strong as I believe the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship, because that relationship, the Superman-Wonder Woman thing, just makes so much sense. Now, in terms of Steve, I guess it makes sense, but there's a problem with it. Living in the real world and growing up and having relationships and seeing those relationships fail, the first girl that you see is not necessarily the girl you fall in love with. Or maybe it is. There's a love at first sight thing. But even those don't go over well all the time. And this is just from my personal experience. But, I had that girl that, shocked me. And I decided that that's where I was going. I was going in that direction. And it did not work out for me. Sometimes you need to take certain hits and pull through certain relationships to get a certain boundary where you start to understand who you are, what you accept, what you want out of a relationship, and so on and so forth. This is just life. And to me, Steve is that first relationship thing. It's almost... sometimes you marry your high school sweetheart, okay? Sometimes you live some life, you learn from life, and then you pick somebody that makes a lot of sense. And that's just the way it is. To me, that's what we're looking at here, is that Steve, inevitably, he moves on. I noticed you can just see my mic here in the shot because I haven't reset the camera yet since I moved it for that shot. So let's pull up a little bit here. Nothing too extreme, but enough that you can see. Find me, camera. Find me. Enough that you can actually see the shelf and whatnot. And now we've lost. Let us start this. We're going to stop right here for a second. there. Now we have our focus back for whatever was going on. I moved it and it lost everything, but it is better this way. You don't see my microphone that's sitting fairly close to me, and then. But anyways, look, that's where I see the whole Steve relationship. It just feels like the first relationship thing to me. The other. So Steve, I can buy, but it seems somewhat far-fetched that thing would go the distance guaranteed. The Superman thing makes a lot of sense to me, because of how much time they're going to spend together in combat situations and so on and so forth, and they're going to know each other, and they're going to be very removed from normal society, and they're both essentially like godlike creatures. Like, it just makes a lot of freaking sense. And in terms of if we're ever going to go the children route, I mean, I guess Steve would do fine with Wonder Woman, I guess. This isn't the point of this discussion, is to get into their reproductive activities, but let us be honest, just like it doesn't make a lot of sense for a man that can push the moon out of orbit to be able to lightly love Lois, you get my deal here. Wonder Woman is one of the only people that I see, well, okay, not one of the only, because you're talking about a world with magic and superpowers and everybody's fucking invulnerable and bulletproof, and flight and things like that are not that unnatural, but you get my idea. Superman just makes a lot of sense. The third option that I see that makes a lot of sense for that relationship is another woman. I don't see that there's any reason for her not to possibly be a lesbian. She grew up in a world where there was only women. Just the psychological impact of that, just her living in that world for that long with only girls, she had to have had relationships. It's almost inevitable. And some books do push her in that direction, that they say that she had relationships on the island and whatnot, and then other books try to avoid that completely, and it just feels like if you spent that much time, like, I'm just saying, when there's only dudes around or only women around, we've seen the effects of that psychologically, and we've seen that relationships, they find a way. We'll say it that way. And I'm not even getting into the whole, some people are born gay, or people listen, or I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just saying we've seen it, okay? If she grew up with only women, maybe a man took her by surprise, which I guess is what happened, and that's how she ended up with Steve, but it just makes a lot of sense that she would enjoy the company of women over men. She spent like 5,000 years there or some shit. Like, just, come on. Really. This stays. This stays because this book was, I don't like this here. I don't like this. But I really, really, really like this. I like the fact that there was another competition and then a different Wonder Woman was chosen, and that's where I discovered that Artemis was a thing, and that kind of changed my whole aspect on Wonder Woman for a while, because it made me respect the idea that her mantle is earned and continually earned, and if at any point it's decided that it's not earned, Wonder Woman is a mantle that can and will be passed on. Diana has just proven time and time again that she deserves it. I liked this. This stays. This is marvelous. This is a marvelous retelling of the original story, and it is done exceptionally well. It's so good. It's so good. Also, going to keep this. Not much to say here, just that it's really good, and I have it. I like Paradise Found. I thought it was a decent... It's not like one of the greatest stories I've ever read. In fact, it falls into one of those problems of being almost a little overdone for its time, which was a thing that was happening with comics at that time. Sometimes comics get a little too ridiculous, but I like it, I have it, I'm keeping it. This is good. I want the others. this, I had to go back, of course. When I discovered Wonder Woman, I had to go back and do the George Perez, and I read through the first entire volume here, and I would really like to see more of these. I just haven't come across a second volume in the wild, and I haven't sucked it out. I haven't seeked, looked. I haven't looked for it. I don't know what word or thing I was looking for when I just did that. This is another one that we're keeping. I lost, man, it really does not want to find me. We may have to look, we may have to address the lighting. So let's stop it again and get our focus. I don't know why this is happening. I really don't. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's because I haven't set up the lights. There's supposed to be a light over there, and there's supposed to be a light up here. And as you can see, one of my lights is actually sitting over there. And I haven't set those lights back up, and this thing does this autofocus, and that's what's messing it up. This is a collection thing I found at Barnes & Noble, which is really cool. It goes across 75 years, and it has a book from each era representing the way that Wonder Woman has been presented and changed over the years, and this is magnificent. This is, of course, the New 52. And then, of course, we have a more modern day, a 90s era, and then we fall back into the 80s. And then, of course, we go, this actually surprises me, because I thought I remembered this being the oldest one, but I think these are out of order. Anyways, this is a pretty cool box set. And it's just a quick little understanding, a quick little hey here to Wonder Woman, and it's cool, and I don't see any reason to get rid of any of these books so far. The only one that was even questionable was the first one, and I have decided now, out of principle, for supporting the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship, because I feel that it makes a lot of sense. It's going down there. So we have just put all of this back in the collection. But there's a lot more to talk about. I can't believe I forgot this. So I'm jumping back in. This is kind of a quick cut. This is a P.S. at the end of the letter. I have this. This I'm keeping. This goes down there. This is awesome. These books are sweet. I have one for Batman, I have one for Spider-Man, and I have one for Wonder Woman, and I love these books. These are fantastic. They're referred to as the ultimate guides, and like I said, I have 3 of them, and I've seen a couple that I want. One thing, the pages are lined in like this gold, which is really cool, which is actually something that I have with a couple of my other books too. I have a leather-bound Star Wars book that is the same way, and I also have a leather-bound Sir Arthur Conan Doyle that has all the original, all of the ones that he did, the Sherlock Holmes novels, and they're the same way. They're all leather-bound, and they have this. But this is awesome. This is so good. It's loaded with cool shit. Like, it just goes through all the different things that you could possibly imagine. It breaks down her sword, talks about the island, talks about her different things throughout the years, showcases all kinds of artwork and special things, talks about questionable eras in her past and things like that. This is tremendous. It's literally one of the coolest things I have in terms of my Wonder Woman collection, and it is easily one of my favorite books in my Wonder Woman collection. So it stays, without a doubt. And now we have added these items to the collection. So, yeah. I have spoken. Take what you will from it.